Obviously, these weren't the circumstances we were anticipating, but I'm glad to be able to pitch in and help here. I want to talk to you a little bit about an update I made to the version of the A formation direct snap offense that I've been running for the last several years, and I've been putting out playbooks and other materials on. One of the things I've done is updated with the addition of a power play that I borrowed from some pro and college I formation teams, which seems to fit very well with the A and its philosophy, especially when you combine it with the threat of the speed sweep, which is the basic premise of the whole half-spin sweep series from the modern A formation that I've been talking about. I'm basically going to focus, unfortunately, I've only got about half an hour left here before I'm going to get running. So my apologies for that in advance. I'll talk for about 10 minutes and then take questions for 15 or 20 as necessary. I will very much focus on the A-gap power play from the A formation. On the slide presentation, they've got the Skype address, I'm sorry, the scribed address so that you can download the A formation PowerPoint that I'm going to be showing. And the important thing there is that the notes pages of this presentation have all the information on the blocking scheme, on formation specifics, you know, all the sort of background stuff. If you're interested in looking at running this as a surprise series or even as a base offense, you want to get the PowerPoint, you want to look at the notes pages for all of the additional information that make it more than a presentation and more like a playbook. So if we go to the fourth slide, slide number 4, which says half spin sweep series tailback power. This will give you an idea of what we're looking at. If we click back one to the slide before it, the basic threat of the half spin sweep series obviously is the wingback sweep. He goes in motion until he's behind the blocking back. He's just about 4 yards deep at that point and moving laterally. The ball is snapped to the quarterback who half spins, pivots, gives to the wingback on the sweep, fakes the power play to the deep back, and then drops vertically and boots away from the sweep. You can see the sweep is pretty basic. You've got one key reach block by that outside offensive tackle in the unbalanced line. Everyone else, the inside tackle pulls for the wide defender. The wide receiver cracks to the inside. You can also block it with the wide receiver on the cornerback and the inside tackle pulling for the number 2 defender to the inside. And then everyone else on the line releases to the second or third level to cut off pursuit. So that's the basic thing that we want to get people interested in when we send that wing back in motion. We want to establish that threat of a speed sweep with a quick half spin with the quarterback so the ball's being hidden right away. So the ball disappears to the defense as soon as the ball is snapped. And you're showing them that threat of speed sweep right away. And you want to establish that first to set up what comes afterwards. And so if we go to the next slide, again, the tailback power play, this is really what I want to concentrate on. Once you've established the threat of the speed sweep from the A formation, this is when things get interesting because obviously you're going to see that end man on the line of the scrimmage start to widen a little bit. You're going to see him take an outside move. You're going to see him try and get upfield and cut off the speed sweep. And all of these things facilitate the running of the power play. If you look at the 4 offensive linemen on the right of the formation, they're all blocking at a 30-degree severe angle. They're running a track to their inside. They're going to take at anything that comes across that track and they're going to impact it hard. The backside guard is pulling and blocking above the hole. The blocking back is running a bit of a banana route, an inside-out path, and he's kicking out that M-loss defender. Now, when you combine this with the threat of the speed sweep and a deep release by the wide receiver on that side, you should have a very soft corner. You should have people who think that that speed sweep is what's coming next. And again, if you get that defensive end, you know, that outside guy loosening himself before the play, lining up wider or taking an outside move or going upfield with a snap or some combination of those things, then it's begging to run the power play at that point. The mechanics of the play are very simple. The quarterback takes the exact same half spin steps. He'll step with his left foot diagonally toward the center as he receives the snap, pivot on that, and turn his back to the defense. And so it's a sort of a quick pivot step, and he's turned around. He doesn't actively fake the ball to the wingback on the sweep. The wingback has to do the faking as he comes through. The tailback on this and on the sweep play and on the quarterback boot in the other direction takes a drop step for timing purposes to let the blocking back and the guard get out in front of him, and then head straight downhill. So the quarterback is going to be there waiting for him with the ball. He takes the ball, and now he gets it as quickly as he can, as deep as he can, and he's running to daylight. There is no true point of attack on this play. It can break anywhere from the backside guard's hole to outside of the kick out. I've seen this play work in any of those gaps repeatedly. You want the tailback to get the ball with his eyes up. You know, you want him running low and hard forward, right downhill, but his eyes are up. You know, his head's up, his eyes are open, and he's looking for just a flash of green. You want him to see wherever there isn't bad color, and that's what he's going to head for. And so we call it an A-gap power play, but it literally can break anywhere in any of those 5 gaps that I just talked about. So with a combination of that kind of versatility, a very simple but effective blocking system that will get a hat in every gap, so no matter what the defense is running, you're going to have a blocker there waiting for them. A really strong misdirection component, because if you're looking at those 3 linebackers in this 5-3 that I've got diagrammed, 2 of them are going to overrun this play. At least 2 of them are going to be pursuing that speed sweep flat out once you establish that play. Or if they've scouted you. You know, if this is a team that's seen you on film before, they're going to be looking for that speed sweep, and that's when you're going to hit them with a power play. And it's such a fundamentally sound play that it doesn't depend on people being misdirected for success. It's going to take the good reaction by the linebacker to the threat of the speed sweep and use it against them. Because if just Sam runs out of the play, that's great, you don't have to block him. Often you'll see Sam and Mike both running out of the play, and then you end up blocking the will linebacker. And you block 3 of the, or 4 of the 5 defensive linemen if they're in a 5-3. You let the other guys go, and you're into the 2nd, 3rd level right away with a full head of steam with your best inside runner at tailback. So it's a great play. People have been using it in the pros, they've been using it in the NC2A level, but when you combine it with a speed sweep threat, you get the best of both worlds. You get the best of the I formation A-gap power play, but you get it with a much stronger component of misdirection. The safety should be chasing the sweep. 2 of the 3 linebackers should be chasing the sweep. The defensive end should be taking himself out of the power play and trying to make a play on the sweep. And so you don't have that many hats to block to begin with, and yet you're still gap sound in what you're doing. Anywhere on the inside you want to run, you've got a blocker there. And the runner gets the ball as deep as possible. His head is up, his eyes are open, and he's running to daylight in the classic Lombardi sense of the term. Wherever he sees a gap, he's gone. And if you can start pounding with this play and pounding with it and pounding and making 4 yards a shot to begin with, and you'll find that that's not too hard to do once you establish the sweep. You can come back to the power and come back to it and come back to it and keep making 4 yards a shot early in the game. As defenders tire out, as they get less disciplined as the game goes on, you're going to find that those power plays are hitting for 5, 6, 7, or 8 yards rather than the 4. And again, you can go back to, if they start closing back down inside to shut off the power, then the sweep opens itself up. And then in addition to both of those threats, you've got the quarterback boot in the other direction. So that's the basics of what I'm talking about. I'm going to quickly flick through a few more of the slides and then I'll take questions. And I want to make sure that you guys are comfortable with the mechanics of this play, and I'll be happy to discuss those at length. So let's go to the next slide, which again now here is the quarterback boot. It's a run pass option. You've got the blocking back sliding out into the flat. He should be open on a regular basis. The tight end does just a quick little corner move so that you're sandwiching that outside pass defender. You've got a run threat, you've got a shallow pass threat, you've got a deep pass threat. And if they're still respecting the sweep threat, or if they're looking for the power play, you're not going to have a whole lot of defenders over on this side. The way to check the best time to call the boot is tell the quarterback every single time you run sweep or power, he's got to look at his defender on the line of scrimmage and see if that guy's checking boot properly. And when he gets lazy and sloppy and he stops checking boot, that's when you run the boot. So that one calls itself as well. The next slide, there's a 4th play in this series where you can snap directly to the blocking back. If it's a youth team, if you're talking about younger than 12 years old, I suggest just wedge blocking this and running this as a blocking back wedge play as a part of a surprise. And everyone else in the backfield, the same motion, same timing, same pivot, Everything else looks the same. It's just that you're quickly going to wedge the ball at the lower youth level, or trap the ball at the higher level, or even in high school, to the blocking back. When discipline starts breaking down in the interior, you get a good little quick trap block, and you got the guy, the big lumbering blocking back, the guy with some power, heading straight downfield, and there's not going to be too many people in front of him because of the other plays you've already established. Now, off the same action, you can also, on the next slide, run a play action where the quarterback will fake the sweep, fake the power, and then he will boot strong this time. And you can see it's a very simple pass-through package. It's just the old Y-cross stuff that they used to do at BYU under Norm Chow. It's a very effective route package. It gives you an outlet in the wingback who can turn his sweep path into just a swing route. If the quarterback gets pressure, he can dump it off quickly to the wingback. You get a deep shot to the wide receiver, and you've got that tight end cross that's almost always open. And of course, the quarterback retains the option to run. So that's the whole series right there. So you can see you've got the threat of the speed sweep as the basis for the whole series. You've got the inside power play, which is a fundamentally sound, well-blocked power play, which only gets better the more you establish the sweep play. You've got the boot away, you've got the blocking back trap or wedge inside, and then you've got play action where you boot toward the sweep as well. So that's a complete set of plays that if you want to, if you're running single wing or another direct snap offense, you can establish, you can just include this as one specific series of plays that you can run. I think it works really well if you do nothing other than put in sweep, power, and boot. Quite frankly, the other stuff is sort of window dressing. It's nice to have, but it's not essential. So at this point, I won't get into the passing game, but I'll be happy to take questions. And if you want to talk in particular about the power play and how it fits in, I'll be happy to answer any questions you've got.
Yeah, Ted, this is Dave Winterlick. I had a question. What cadence do you use on the tailback power play, and what is the speed of the motion man before the snap and before he takes the handoff?
Okay, second question first. I want the wingback to be going about half speed by the time the ball is snapped. It's not a particularly quick motion, but I don't want him sort of jogging in place either. I want him to build up some momentum so that when we do run the speed sweep, he's moving and can quickly get up to three-quarter velocity by the time he takes the handoff, and then full speed very shortly after that. In terms of cadence, it depends on what you're comfortable running, what you're using in your system and how you like to time things up. I've used very simple cadence systems. I'll have a count on which we normally send the wingback in motion. I often use a non-rhythmic cadence so that the wingback, the quarterback will wait until the wingback is behind the blocking back, and then he'll do the actual snap count at that point. You can time it up with a rhythmic cadence system. I've tended to get away from those in recent years for a number of reasons, including that it's much easier to have to avoid a strong pass rush if you're not using rhythmic snap count, in my opinion. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does. Do you ever have a shift call in your cadence?
Yeah, I've used that before. I don't like to use the word shift if I'm sending a guy in motion because it tends to confuse the officials. Then, they may think I have to come set for a second before I send someone in motion. So if I'm not actually shifting, I don't normally use the word shift in my cadence. But again, it's depending on what you're comfortable with in your system.
Thank you.
Hey Ted, Tom Davis.
Hey Tom.
Hey. I'm looking at this wingback sweep here, and I'm just wondering, do you have, other than your your throwback, your play action passer, is it feasible to run, say that wingback goes in motion, gets the ball, and then passes to the split end on the power side, where the quarterback just starts ignoring that?
Oh, sure, absolutely. If you want to put in a wingback pass, if you've got a wingback who can manage that, then sure, absolutely, you could run play action that way, no problem at all.
Yeah, because I looked at that and I'm like, wow, that'd be a full series right there with that wingback pass, because it looks the
sure,
same.
if you get If you get a kid that can do that, absolutely. If you're blessed with the left-handed wingback, that can be an extremely effective play running to the left.
Hey Ted, Darren Sommel here. Two quick questions. One on the wingback sweep at the youth level. You get a lot of teams putting really athletic skill type player kids at that D end or that D tackle position. Do you find problems with the reach block or the D tackle shooting through? And then the second question just was on the power. Where do you find, most often 7 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, where does the tailback end up going? C gap, strong side, A gap, back side.
Okay. The very simple answer to the question about the sweep and finding the superior athletes at the youth level at defensive end, defensive tackle, as soon as that guy starts wanting to widen to shut down the sweep, at the coach's urging or just on his own initiative, it's time to call the power play. Again, that one really does become a very simple ask. Your outside tackle is going to tell you when he can't make that reach block. You'll figure that one out very quickly. And at that point, you feel free to just switch up and go right to the power play. If they start trying to play games by having them wide on one play, narrow on the next, I'm not going to suggest you start audibling, but you're going to get a pretty good sense of where that kid is going to be on any given play and what you ought to be running as a direct result. If he's widening himself out of the play, run the power. If he's in close and he's still defeating the reach block, remember, this doesn't have to be a pancake effort by your offensive guy. All you have to do is tangle that kid's feet. If you slow him down for 1 full second, the sweep play is past him. All you have to do is impede him successfully, and the kids, I tend to put my better tackle blocker, better footwork kid at the outside tackle, even though the inside tackle is the one who's pulling for the cornerback. That often is a completely unnecessary block, believe it or not. It just helps the wingback set up his cut if he's got a big kid lumbering out there in front of him, because it forces the cornerback to commit one way or the other, and then your back can cut off him much more easily. So if you've got a better sure-footed kid at outside tackle, all he needs to do is get in the way of that defensive end on the sweep, and the play will be around him. So you don't have to worry about putting Superman out there at the offensive tackle. And again, if the kid on defense widens himself completely out of reach of anyone at the outside tackle, you call the power play. So it doesn't become a conflict. In terms of where you find kids ending up running, almost invariably, as you start to run this play, the kid's going to get the ball and break for the C gap. He's going to think there's a kick-out block, there's down blocks, that's where I'm going. But then he's also going to find that that's where the linebackers are heading, because they're reading their keys. I mean, the better players are going to be going right there. And what he's going to suddenly discover after 20, 30, 40 reps of running this is that there's a lot more daylight to the inside. And with the good severe angle blocking wall that's being built in front of him, if there's even a slight, hairbreadth gap there, he can be gone with no linebackers behind that wall of defensive linemen. So what he's going to find is it's much more profitable to hit straight ahead, and sometimes even to bend it back to the inside, to bend it back away against the grain from the way the play looks like it's running, and certainly from the way the wingback is headed. So they'll start thinking power play, okay, fine, C gap. And as they learn, as part of the education process, they'll start taking it further and further inside and finding success there. And then the more you do that, the more that slows down pursuit, and then that not only opens up the outside lane for the power play, it opens up the sweep.
Question. Ted, this is Bruce Lane. Question. On your power play, the defensive tackle and the 5-3 that you're blocking down on with the tight end.
Right.
If he tries to fight outside, you have the tight end let him go?
If he takes an absolute loop outside, if he moves away from the lane, yes, I would tend to. There may be some game going on between him and the end. The important thing to tell your kids is run your track, block that inside 30-degree severe angle, run your track. If a body shows up, you're going to hit it. If a body disappears, don't worry, there'll be another one coming. If you don't hit anyone until you get to the second level, that's fine. You just cut off a linebacker. That's doing your job. But what you have to stress with this particular scheme to all the kids all the time, those 4 linemen that are on the 30-degree angle track, is run your track. That's the only thing they have to worry about. If the monster defensive tackle loops away or drops back in a zone blitz or whatever, it doesn't matter. Just run your track. There'll be someone to block.
Any more questions, anybody? All right, no more questions?
Fantastic. Listen, I'm sorry this took so long to get together, but I really appreciate your guys' time listening. Let me see if I can find on the presentation where it has the address for the, I'm not showing it on here.
I'll find it on the script for you.
Oh, yeah.
It's under your
right.
name.
Yeah, it's A Formation 2010 is what the name of the document is. If you could share that that address with the guys that want to get their hands on that file, or if not, feel free to email me, seayee@hotmail.com. So my last name, my initials EE, and then @hotmail.com. I'll be happy to share this or any of the other stuff I do with you.
Okay, any last things from anybody?
Thanks, Ted.
Hey, thanks a lot, Ted. This is
Thank you, guys.
great. We can do this across the ocean.
All right. Take care.
All right, thank you. Definitely underpass, or what you call the mesh. Got a definite mesh game there. Overpass, or a lot of people call it levels. Then definitely stick. Got a nice little bunch type game right there. And then the curl. Then a screenplay. What is it, to the fullback? Yeah, to the tailback.
That's blocking
Huh?
that. That's still blocking that.
It's like that blocking backside, kicking the
No.
The blocking back's kicking out, so it's the tailback, so I think he's going up,
Step
Oh,
out
okay.
and coming across.
going across, and then running. So the definite slow screen
Yep.
on there.
Alright,
For me,
close my eyes on those plays. They're too tempting.
what's it called, scrib?